So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Gabrielsen and I'm the tiny one.
All right. Back in the hot seat.
Back in the hot seat.
Yes. So, what is up, my homie? What is up?
We just ordered trips to Brazil.
Yeah, we did.
I'm like, should I say it? Should not say it, but I'm too excited. We just ordered trips to Brazil. We're gonna attend a coral belt ceremony for Ricardo Liborio, first world champion ever in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And if you don't know who he is, you can check out one of our previous podcasts. He's been with us here. And I'm slightly excited.
Oh my God. You know, and it's very typical him. People from all over the world are collecting to celebrate him because he's such a huge mover, not just in jiu-jitsu, but in society in general. He's also asking people to donate gis or the uniforms that people use in jiu-jitsu to the ghetto and to all the projects there, because jiu-jitsu is a really great thing for children and for young adults that are troubled, because they learn discipline and they learn how to have a good relationship with people over time and be disciplined and be on time and behave a certain way on the mat. And it's really amazing.
And when you're training, you don't have time to do other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and also, you don't really want to rob the guy you're training with.
And that wouldn't be very smart, no.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like even when you're in the worst kind of social situation, I mean, you understand that there's a certain limit and there's a certain level of cooperation that's better than not cooperating with people. And jiu-jitsu shows that pretty clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so that's happening.
Yeah.
Other than that, flow state are selling. We have, so we're going to be at Park now, and Park Hotel is a hotel this time. It's going to be bigger than ever.
Yep.
We have to say,
it's already
shout out, it's already bigger, but shout out to the Dutchies.
Oh,
because in last episode, we challenged the Dutchies because we have the Swedes, we had the Germans, we didn't have the Dutchies.
Yeah.
The Dutchies stepped up.
They did.
I was impressed.
We are going to have people showing up from Holland. They're coming in, they're landing, they're going to enjoy themselves so much. Shout out to you. I appreciate you a long time.
It was so much fun.
So where are my Italians?
Well, I said, where are my people from Bergen?
Yeah, well, that's true.
They have when we have people. I'm saying when you have people from Germany and Sweden. and the Netherlands that are coming, Bergen, come on.
Yeah.
Oslo, come on.
Step up
The game. This is a weekend for you. Sorry, I have a scone in my throat. It is a weekend for you. It's going to be amazing. And I'm so much looking forward to that one.
Oh, yeah. We're going to unleash it.
It's going to be a very good start of the new year.
It is. And the Mind Valley University event that we went to where all of us spoke, and we got 100% 5-star ratings on the experience there. You know, that's going in and finding yourself. And it was really amazing. Steve session with over 70 people. That was amazing. Your speech there was super inspiring, and people were loving on me as well. I really enjoyed it. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're getting people from all over Europe, because the Mind Valley event brings in people from all over Europe.
So all over the world. They are the biggest online transformational platform.
That's true. That's right. So you guys get on it. Come on over.
So drop some knowledge.
Ha! Just like no
Jason
question,
asked
no
me some
nothing.
high
Just
questions today. I've been slightly busy ordering tickets and such for Brazil, so I haven't had time to think about a question. So now it's a on-spot challenge. Wisdom.
wisdom. Push play. Go. Right.
The worst is it's gonna come something brilliant. Now that's
I don't
the
know
worst.
about that, but let's see. There is something that I find very interesting, and that is the tendency that we have to put people on pedestals or to criticize, reject, and diminish them.
I told you it was gonna be good.
Ah. So it's interesting because in jiu-jitsu, for example, when you are a black belt, when you are moving with people who have just started jiu-jitsu, it seems like magic. And you're so much better at that thing than they are that it seems almost like you are not a human being. You're like an alien or some gifted human being that just knows
It's
everything.
magic.
It is magic, right? So the tendency there is to put that person on a what?
Pedestal.
On a huge pedestal. The problem is that just because that person's good at jiu-jitsu doesn't mean that they know everything.
That is true.
So you can say that I put your work in this field of expertise on a pedestal. I put your perseverance and your discipline and your situation that allowed you to become this good at it. And if you can do it, therefore I can also do it. Thank you for teaching me. Or you can mystify this person and make them superhuman, right? The problem is that when you make them superhuman, you're disassociating yourself from the ability to improve. Meaning that if I think that you're special because you're amazing at jiu-jitsu, which you are, and I roll with you and you're just insanely good, you just overwhelm me with your brilliance, I, in a way, am rejecting that excellence in myself, or at least that potential for excellence. Because if I put you on a pedestal, you're not attainable. You're not reachable for me. So that actually slows down my learning. On the other hand, if I push you down because you suck at something, I could find you 5 minutes later doing something that you're world class in. And me judging you as a human being, pushing you down in my estimation because you don't even know how to whatever. You don't even know how to change tires, bro. Or do you even lift or all of this stuff? Well, I have so many times also seen people push others down in their estimation, which doesn't allow them to see the brilliance in that person and doesn't allow them to, in a way, participate in that person's development, which means they don't get to cooperate with that person. So they're limiting themselves. So whether you're lifting somebody up or pushing somebody down, you, in a way, are not respecting the work and the relationship in life.
But isn't it often that the people you set up high is also the one you at one point you're gonna tear down, right?
Well, that's exactly it, because you polarize. And if you have two magnets and one's positive and the other one's negative, what happens? They come together, right? The whole point is that when you polarize something that, it's very good or it's very bad, what ends up happening is in the end, you often see the switch happen, that the positive becomes the negative, negative becomes a positive. They come together. So, you told me one time about a person that you had on a super pedestal.
I've had a couple.
Yeah, a couple. But
Not one. I've had a couple.
But then you saw them do something, and you were like, "Oh my god!" A person.
I remember that. This was,
fell.
I think, we're talking. It's, as I said, it's multiple. This was a lady, poor young lady looking back. I looked so much up to her, and then, very polarized as it was before I started this process. Smoking was out of question. I have a friend. she's still my friend. If in my head she's always smoked, so then you also see where it's incongruent because she can smoke but nobody else.
Yeah.
But she was kind of okay because in my head she's always smoked and that's fine. But if other people smoked, they were bad people and oof. And this person I looked very much up to, and then I caught her actually smoking.
And you're like,
Well, yeah, it became very difficult.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because I never started thinking bad about her actually because I looked so much up to her and I really liked her. She was like an idol, but it was very difficult to handle, and I didn't know how to handle it. I think that was my biggest issue, is that I got very conflicted and I didn't know how to behave around her
Yeah,
because I never start talking down to her, but I didn't know how to relate to her anymore.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to relate to that because she smoked, and if you smoked, you were a bad person. But this wasn't a bad person. She was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to do. So it became a very like a freezing point in one way.
yes, and just so it's said, this is when Mara was quite young, so
Yeah,
you know,
no, it wasn't yesterday. It was when
Yeah,
I was 14.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole
Summer I was 14 actually.
yes, exactly. And the whole issue here is that then you see an incongruency also in understanding that things meant good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Smoking is just a thing. You know,
Yeah.
you're not a good or bad person because you smoke,
No,
right?
I don't think that anymore.
No,
by
of
the way.
course not. Of course not. Of
But
course
that took
those are-
5 years ago. Yes.
But those are the things that we think about with our mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers. Our mom and dad don't want us to smoke because it's bad for us and it's expensive. So they just say, oh, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. And then you kind of polarize it as, oh, that's a bad thing. Therefore, people who do it are bad because bad people do bad things. It's a very logical progression, right? And when you haven't kind of reflected around it, and guys, don't worry, I know you know this, and you're gonna like, oh, that's really like simple stuff. They're not talking about anything in terms of my performance. Yeah, just wait, we'll get there. Okay, this is important stuff. We have these ideas from when we were children that that's bad. Therefore, if it's bad and you do it, you must be a bad person because bad people do bad things. Weirdly enough, our unconscious mind has lots of those weird things going on. And you can actually find yourself sometimes, if you're a little bit awake, judging people and then going, hey, I don't actually believe that. Hold on a second. You go, oh, that she shouldn't be wearing that top. Huh. And then afterwards, you're like, I don't body shame people. She can wear that top she wants. She's hanging out of it everywhere. Maybe that's not so good for her, but I mean, I don't care. Why did I react to that? You know, there's a lot of things inside ourselves that we kind of are reacting to and reacting with. And understanding this putting people up on a pedestal and dropping people down mechanism, you can actually start looking at where you're doing that in your life, and it makes something really important achievable. And that's anything. Anything is achievable when you realize it's just work. So if I hang out with composers, for example, you know, I can think in the beginning that, oh my God, these guys are composing these symphonies and they're just so much better than me. But over time, I start to understand what the mechanics of composing are. I understand how to do it. And then I realize that if you look at a chart of all the greatest composers in the world, you see the people who have created the most composition, like the most symphonies. If you look all the way, the people who are the most, they're not that super famous. But if you take one step in, almost the most, it's the ones you've heard of, Chopin and Bach and all of these guys. They've written a whole bunch, and you only know two of them or five of them, and those are the ones that are famous. And you're like, well, they probably wrote 500 of them, and two of them are good, five of them are good. Of course, right? If you look at the work done, it's natural that they achieve, right? But it doesn't take away from their accomplishment being great, though they have worked their asses off to get there. right? And we look at them and we think, oh my God, these guys are super extra special. So therefore, I could never. Wrong. If you put in that kind of work, you get that kind of result. The question is now, are you willing to do that work? That's the question. So, and this is also a really interesting thing because I remember standing in a grocery store in America and this guy came in and he stunk and he was dirty. He was freaking dirty and he stunk like nasty as fuck. You know, like when you got this like super stressy sweat and you're just slick with sweat and you smell like, I don't know, you smell like fire, bonfire. I guess like the guy's been like sleeping outside and he just looked disheveled and like shit, you know, and his hands were shaking. And everybody's like, and giving him some space because he's obviously a homeless person who probably is, you know, looking for a fix or something because he's shaking like crazy. And then a guy comes up behind him in line and goes, I can't believe it. And we all stood back. You're the guy. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Thank you for saving my children. The guy had pulled kids out of a burning building. Stress sweat? Yes, check. Smelling like nasty campfire? Well, furniture burning. Check. Shaking a little bit? Just save some kids. Probably not feeling so hot. And then you look at what he's buying and it's Gatorade and stuff. And he's going back with a bunch of drinks for who? The other firemen. How cool is that? So you judge this guy for being a nasty, and you make all kinds of projections on who this guy is and all the crap that he must be doing and all this stuff. But it turns out to not be the case at all. And here's the question. If people show up in a crappy way, would we have shown up in the same crappy way if we had the same situation? Most likely, yes. I don't think I would be smelling any fresher than that guy if I just did what he did. Right? So it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time, you know, judging other people for this stuff because the constellation around them dictates that they must be like this. Now, the question is, you know, where do you want to go with your life and where are they going with their life? They can shoot high and you can shoot high. They can shoot low and you can shoot low. You know, you're not necessarily obligated to evolve yourself. But when you hang out with people who do, they're not evolving because they are different than you. They're evolving because they're doing the what? Doing the work. So if we can look at all of the other areas where we're polarizing ourselves, good and bad, and what I want and what I don't want, and all of that, and you start thinking about things, there are a lot of these things that, these belief systems that are not us at all, that keep us maybe alive because our mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers wanted good things for us, most likely, and they were teaching us their survival system. But their survival system kept them alive, yes, but also kept them. You don't want to be them. You want to be who?
Yourself, I guess.
Yourself. That's it. So you have to make those conscious moves in order to create that belief system that you want. And that's some of the stuff we're going to be focusing on at the Flow State Continuum weekend. We're going to go even deeper into our worldviews and our personal philosophies and really looking at things that are holding us back in our everyday life. And I can't be more excited.
But I think, yeah, when you talk about pedestals and stuff, now I understand, I agree, but I think it's going to be difficult for people to understand shouldn't you look up to people then, and shouldn't you have idols, and shouldn't you have mentors that you look up to? And
I would say you should have people who exemplify the qualities that you want, or people who are excellent at what you would like to be excellent at. But to have idols, I would say no, because you're in a way making them supernatural. And they're not supernatural. They're just people who decided to focus on a thing, right? You know, there's also these blanket statements that we often have in our heads, like we see somebody like Michael Jordan. Everybody loves Michael Jordan, and he's the best basketball player that ever lived. Amazing. He was a legend. He is a legend, right? So everybody thinks that he's like that everywhere in his life. Just like when they think I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, that I know everything, right? So putting him on a supernatural pedestal doesn't allow me to understand that the hard work and the trials and tribulations that he went through that made him him, and that energy that he gathered to create that greatness is something that I could also do if I was given opportunity, right? So looking up to his achievements, I think, is better than looking up to him as a person, because he lives a hard life. From if you read into the life of Michael Jordan, that guy is a hard partier, and he's pushing himself to the limit and all kinds of stuff and gambles, and it's a whole nother level. Like, it's thrill seeking, and I don't think he lives a very happy life. So I don't think that looking up to people's abilities and achievements and hard work is bad, but in a way to put them up as a person on a pedestal is not good. Great question. So you did have a question. Yes.
No, I just okay, yeah. Sure. Because the other thing I was thinking is just that, you know, you have what was it? No, it's just an observation, because I know many people that are very, very excellent in different fields. And what I find because I know you very well, and you're excellent in many fields, and I see people that maybe haven't done any self-development, or very little of it, and that are excellent in their field, like they're world class, but then they having issues recognizing excellent in others. And when they try to, it's very interesting to say, I'm going to take jiu-jitsu because people in our podcast has heard a lot about jiu-jitsu, so they know you're excellent and you're a black belt, and you have other world-class performers in their field coming and visit or they train. It's very interesting to see the power dynamics that all of a sudden have to happen, because I've seen people being excellent coming in and being excellent at learning from you, for instance. And then you have then you see they've done some deep inner work. And then you have the others that are, again, also excellent in their field. But then it becomes like this power fight, which is ridiculous, because we're talking about water and fire. They're two different fields.
Yeah.
But because they're excellent there, they kind of have to show that they're excellent there. But this is a different arenas, instead of just allowing themselves to be a beginner. Do you follow the...
Yeah.
And I find that very fascinating. Excellent people having issues accepting or seeing excellent in others.
Yeah.
And or then also maybe having a challenge with accepting their non-excellent in a different field.
Yeah. You've seen me learn stuff, and you know that I have...
you just visited Sara. Sara is the academy, but Sanna is the teacher in Sweden.
Yes.
And I don't know her. We hope to meet her soon.
Awesome lady.
But she's excellent in her field. She's an artist. Yeah, she's world class, and you do take the teachings.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, when a master speaks, you listen. You shut up and you listen.
You get free lessons.
You get free lessons if you listen, right? But if you don't listen, you don't get lessons, right? No matter how much you pay. Exactly. Yeah. And I think it generally has to do with, like, you've seen me learn things from the beginning, like driving motorcycles.
Yeah, you did not know how to do that.
No,
I thought you did. You did not.
No, I
and,
didn't. I didn't.
I let him try my motorcycle because then you told me a story about a motorcycle, and I just assumed because your accent in so many stuff that he knows how to drive one. He didn't.
No. That story ended with me wrecking that motorcycle.
Yeah, just so it said you never told me that you were good at driving.
No.
I just assumed.
And you're like, yeah, you can drive my motorcycle. I'm like, really? You're gonna let me? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. And I'm like, okay, it's.
I gave you 1.5 minutes and said, let's move away from the parked cars.
Yeah, let's move away from parked cars and let me drive. And I'm
Yes.
like, all right, good job. Okay. So, by the way, Mara taught me how to drive motorcycles. So she's amazing.
Yeah, that's not the question right now.
No, but anyway,
Yeah.
very often people have an issue because they're so identified with this one thing that they're excellent at that role becomes permanent. Where meaning that if I'm the master in, let's say, art. Let's just pick something like art. But then I go to something like basketball. That I have a hard time not being the master because I'm a master all day long in my art, but then I go to basketball and I'm crap. And because I have to be the master and my whole identity is wrapped up in being the master, my whole role is there. If you move me out of that, I don't exist. Then I have basically an ego death. So they're holding on so much to who they are that they can't just relax and learn. Me, I realize that I'm crap at a whole bunch of things. Like I'm good at the things that I've put lots of energy into and focus on. And I can own that. There are many things that I've worked very hard. I'm 52 years old. I've worked very hard on many areas of my life, and I'm good at them, right? But then there are so many areas I haven't even touched, like sitting next to Sana and painting and drawing, and sitting next to Jan Ove Tu, for example, and painting. These guys are so good that it's mind-blowing for me to try to come in there as a black belt, and that is just ridiculous to me. But that's because I've had to be a beginner in so many different areas. And honestly, here's another thing. I think it's because I had a lot of issues in school when I was little. I had dyslexia, 2 different kinds of dyslexia. And it was very difficult for me because things looked right to me, but they weren't right. So I constantly got corrected from the outside. And though I 100% could see that it was correct, and I believed it was correct, it wasn't correct. I realized that I actually need to doubt myself sometimes, and I could be a little humble, and I can listen to other people because sometimes what I'm seeing is not right, even though that's what I'm seeing. Think about how freaky that is. People don't understand dyslexia if they don't have it. But like, you can look at an equation and you look at that equation and you're pretty damn sure, not pretty damn, you know 100% what it says. You go away, you come back 5 minutes later, it looks different. And you're like, what the? I had a teacher, the first one that found out that I was dyslexic, actually asked me to go back and write down the numbers that I thought I saw. And I got them all correct. And she was like, sorry, honey, I can't give you a good grade here, but we need to get you checked. And I'm like, okay. Right? So being humbled over and over and over through my whole school, I realized that even if I feel like the best of the best of the best, and I know for sure what it is, I still need to take a step back and be humble for the input coming in. And that's
especially when you sit with then world-class masters in their subject.
Exactly. Like Sana. She's insane. It's amazing. It's just the level is so crazy. These guys that studied with Odd Nardrum, like Jan Ove Tuv and Sana Tomax, these guys are so amazing. They're like, we're lucky to have them in Scandinavia, So give yourself the opportunity to appreciate the people around you, love on them, appreciate them for who they are. But for God's sakes, realize that if you put as much energy into something as they're putting into their thing when they're excellent, you also will be excellent. The story that I've told many times about Terje Håkonsson was that, he was showing me this route that he was going, and he asked me if I saw the marks on the tree, and I said no, and he said went back and looked, and there was like 13 marks on the tree. I said, what are those? He said, that's how many times I didn't make that turn out on the piece for this commercial. He said, most people would have stopped at 3. But I'm Terry Håkansson. I knew I was going to get it. It took me 13 times, but the 13th time I made it out. I'm just like, man, that's so cool. But it's about not giving up. So don't put people on a pedestal. Appreciate them for their hard work. Be respectful and honor them for the work. So honoring them is okay, but making them supernatural or basically stepping on them, it's not okay, because it's not just not good to them, but it's keeping you from not being the best you. All right. Remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then you're energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day, and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.